good.
You good?
Yep.
Welcome everybody. Wednesdays with Brad and Josh here at 10 in the Pit Pro Shop. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. I know for me it was one of the more relaxing ones that I can remember, so that's been great. Thank you very much to all of you that supported 10 in the Pit Pro Shop and came in and helped us or allowed us to be a part of your Christmas shopping. Hopefully everybody had a safe New Year. I know there's a lot of stories out there of some good things going on and then some people going through some difficult times. So, I hope things get better here in 2020, and I hope things continue to grow and we keep doing a good job for you here at 10 in the Pit. What we're doing today is, I think today's going to be a little shorter in length than most videos. I'm going to throw the Gravity Evolve. It's not my own personal one. Honestly, I hadn't had time to drill it, so we have one from the Matchmaker that we're having. So let's talk about the Matchmaker. Next week, we have the Storm Matchmaker here at 10 in the Pit Pro Shop, and it'll be here at the bowling center. What I plan to do is oil enough lanes with our normal house shot, as well as maybe a couple of lanes with a sweeper shot, which will be more of a flatter pattern, so that you can be throwing some of these bowling balls on yes, a normal house shot, but also for those of you that bowl tournaments, you'll have a chance to be able to throw the balls that we have for the Matchmaker on a more, like I say, a flatter pattern. So let's introduce the Matchmaker. The Storm Matchmaker, we will be having it here Wednesday, January 15th from 1 to 6:30. Thursday, January 16th, noon to 7. And Saturday, January 18th, 12 to 4. The four balls that you'll have the chance to be able to throw are the Gravity Evolve, which is a stronger, slower response time ball. The Mean Streak, we featured that here in one of the videos. You can go look at that video to learn more about that. The All Road, which I think we also featured in one of our videos, as well as...
Wild Streak, Brad.
Every time.
I did it again? Holy cow. Are you kidding me?
Must be some subconscious thing about me.
I wish I could say I did that on purpose. Even though that is my sense of humor normally, honestly, I didn't do that on purpose. I was thinking, I got to be able to throw. So I'm really sorry. The Wild Streak we'll be having. We did feature that here. The All Road, which is more of a medium response time, maybe medium to slow response time ball. And the Phase 3, which we've thrown many times on many of the videos, which is slowly but surely earning its way into my arsenal. I've been using it pretty much almost every single week. So you'll have the ability to throw those four bowling balls, okay? Now, I also wrote a couple things off the top of my head here. Tips for testing bowling balls. As you've seen in the videos that we've done, I think the main tip for testing a bowling ball is for you throw that ball down the lane, you get lined up with it, and then throw the balls that you like right on top of how you just threw that ball that you're testing. So that gives you an idea as to how that newer ball relates to some of the balls that you use on a week in and week out basis. Because of that, I want you to know that you're more than welcome to bring your favorite 2 or 3 bowling balls for the Matchmaker. You can throw those balls down the lane, get lined up with them, and then start testing the Matchmaker balls so you can see how they relate relative to the balls that you already know and like in your bag. I think that's very important, okay? I have the Pro Shop's number here, 716-425-4577. Please call or at least text and let Josh know what day and time that you're planning on coming in. That'll help us be able to get an idea as to how many people are going to be here at those times. What we're trying to avoid is we don't want to have 5 people on Wednesday and 50 people on Saturday. If there's some of you that can spread out and fill in some of these other times, you can let us know. Call Josh, let him know if you're available for 2 of the times. Call him and ask him which time would be best so we can try to space it out so that you have enough time to be able to throw the balls. The other main reason for that is if at any given 1 hour or hour and a half window, if we have too many people here, then people are standing around waiting for a particular ball to become available because somebody else is throwing it, and then it's just not productive on anybody's part. So let's try to keep everybody as spaced out as we can. You should have more than enough time to be able to throw your equipment. On the later day, on Thursday from noon to 7, that's a 7-hour window that you're going to have. So what I'd like to do is I want to oil enough lanes, and we'll only have 2 or 3 lanes available for the first hour and a half, and then the next hour and a half we'll turn on a couple more, maybe 2 or 3 more lanes, keeping the other ones still open, and then saving the last 2 or 3 lanes for the last hour and a half, so that if for those of you that get off work and you don't get here until 5 o'clock, that you'll be able to still have a fresh oil pattern to be able to test some of the stronger stuff on. I've been to too many matchmakers where all the lanes are on for all the time, and by the time you get a couple hours in, the people that are coming and trying to test these balls, they don't have any fresh lanes or fresh pattern available to be able to throw them on. So I found that we try to ration the lanes out, keeping the integrity of a pattern for as long as we can, okay? So that's another reason to try to get here as best you can on the front end of those times, as well as to call Josh and try to check in at least and let him know so we can help space things out.
14 and 15 pounds available.
14 and 15 pounds available, different span lengths. We have all the interchangeable grips, the interchangeable thumbs.
You use a turbo switch grip, bring your own thumb.
If you can't, you might want to have Josh.
That's all.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you can hear that. Josh just said if you have an interchangeable turbo thumb, go ahead and bring it with you. If you bring the bowling balls that you already like, that'll obviously be with you already, and then you can use your thumb insert right into the matchmaker balls, and then we'll just have to match up the grips for you, okay? So there should be more than enough time and more than enough lanes for you to be able to throw the balls that you like. The cost for the matchmaker, what are we charging?
$10.
Okay, we're only charging $10 for you to come and test the matchmaker.
If you buy any
balls.
4 balls.
If you put an order in that day for any of those balls, then that $10 goes towards credit, right towards the cost of that purchase, okay? So basically it's a $10 practice session if you're just looking to try out the balls and not on the market for anything right now. 10 bucks for whatever, hour and a half of being able to throw some balls down the lane. And then if you do choose to buy a ball or put an order for a ball in that day, it's only good for that day, then we'll go ahead and credit, take 10 bucks off that ball. Okay, so it's really a win-win situation for everybody. And Josh, anything you want to add on that?
No.
Okay, so bring your favorite couple bowling balls so you can compare these 4 that you're going to be testing to the balls that you already like. I do think that's going to be an important tool for you. And I think that is it. 425-4577. What's that?
5-ball challenge.
Oh, yes. Thanks for reminding me. The last time that the last time we had our video, Josh and I did what I guess we called a 5-ball challenge, and a couple friends of mine, John Zwolak, if you're on here or if you're watching later, please please put a text in a little bit or a comment in the comment section here about what you did out there in Boston. John Zwolak, he came to a Bowl U workshop this summer that Rick Benoit and I did here at our center. John Zwolak went home and has really done a great job promoting Bowl U out there in the Boston area. So I got a message from John that he took that 5-ball challenge to a little different level. And so he and a couple of his buddies there out there at his bowling center, they took the 5-ball challenge. So really what that is you pick any 5 bowling balls, and we want you to go and bowl your own Baker game. One ball is the first in the 6th frame, the second ball is the second in the 6th frame, so it's just like a Baker game. And you just go ahead and you throw the balls and you bowl a game, and then what we want you to do is report on the 10 in the Pit page what you found. Post your score. Talk about what you found. If you want to post a video, feel free to send that to Josh, and as long as it's of worthy content, then we'll just throw it on the page. And Josh had said, I think that would be kind of cool and fun, and maybe it's something that it can take off and become a neat thing, kind of like that ice bucket challenge was a few years ago.
If you choose to do it though, and you choose to do a video, when you're doing your video, put the hashtag 5-ball challenge up. So hashtag 5-ball challenge. That way we can see how many people are doing it.
So the number 5 or the word 5?
Number 5.
Number 5.
Okay, so the number 5 ball challenge, hashtag, #, send it in.
Crotch chop it, do whatever you
Crotch chop, whatever you want to do. Okay, I think that's a pretty cool idea. Let's see if it ends up taking off. I know that it's kind of a neat thing regarding Bowl U as well, to be able to do your best to try to make all 5 bowling balls look the same. If you go back and watch Josh's and my 5-ball challenge that we did just before Christmas, we ended up, I stood in the same place for all 5 bowling balls. And I just made subtle changes with my speed or my rev rate or my loft. And then as we got later into that, I ended up moving to the far left with the IQ Emerald, I think is what it was, just because it was obvious that that was a better place to be able to use that ball at that time. Okay? Josh, anything to add before I start throwing the Evolve? Okay, so I have not yet thrown the Evolve. Here we go. I hope all of you take us up on our offer to be able to come in for the matchmaker. If you're coming in from out of town, please let us know so that we can make sure that we're here. I will tell you this, last thing off the top of my head, Josh will be here for all 3 days, the whole time. I will be in and out on Wednesday and Thursday, but on Saturday I have a tournament, so I will not be able to be here at all. If you're wanting my help in choosing equipment and whatnot, please try to come in on Wednesday and or Thursday. Okay? All right. So let's throw it. So I'm going to get lined up with my phase 3. Actually, I have my ProMotion in my bag, so let me get that. That's kind of a good starter ball. This has been the ball that I have started with in leagues. So it's been in my bag, and like I said, I've been playing around with the phase 3. So I usually use the ProMotion for the first game, sometimes the full game 2, and then go ahead and switch to the phase 3 later in the league session for that 3rd game, just because I want to continue to get that motion in my brain, and I play around with it the last game of the league. So just doing the same thing. Now we're bowling on whatever was bowled on last night, just as normal. Obviously the same lane 21. So stand on my normal 17, looking at 17, go from here.
BS that he got against me a couple
You know
weeks
what?
ago.
I'm going to tell you what.
That's the same bull crap.
That Jason Belmonte ball, you throw that ball down the lane, you get the same type of carry as those two-handers. So that's a pretty nice pin collision
I
there.
win 2 weeks ago if he doesn't get that BS.
Josh always has a reason to why he didn't win the money.
I'm sore. I couldn't get loose.
Well, I haven't bowled in a week, so here I go again.
Josh, can you be a little louder? I can't hear you. Like,
All you got to do is get it off your hand, that ball strikes. You don't even have to hit the pocket with that ball.
well, thought he had something to say there.
Okay.
You know, this is his pair. We're going to start doing it on 13 and 14.
I think we should start doing it on different pairs. I'll be honest with you, Tim Friends Photography. I remember 2 weeks ago on our video, I forgot to thank Tim for the great job he's done. He's a pretty modest guy, so he was like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. But please, take him up on taking whatever photographs you might need.
We'll travel all the way to California,
Gone further.
He does travel, so.
Taiwan, wherever you want. Wherever you are. We're gonna take a listen.
Okay, so for those 4 shots, those last 2 were pretty decent. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Evolve right here now, the same way I just threw that. And we're going to see how it compares to the Pro Motion. Yeah, perfect. Now I'm not able to have my thumb in that. That's just one of the matchmaker thumbs. So give me a second. That one fell off my hand and I missed quite a bit to the left. So let me try to get a little different feel with that thumb. And as always, you got to shoot your spares whenever you're doing videos. So for the 3-6-10, well, now I got the 9-pin. I end up moving 7 to the left. For the 3-6-10, I usually move 5 to the left and throw it just a little faster. But for this 3-6-10, I want to make sure that I have enough down lane motion to be able to get that sleeper pin, the 9-pin, so I move an extra 2 left, and I throw it a little bit slower to make sure I have enough room to get it to the right. So 7, and 7 and 3 to the left, and throw it a little slower. And that was a pretty bad shot.
So, question.
Yes.
Brett, it looks like Brad tucks his pinky. Field preference or something else?
The easiest answer for me is that that's something that I've always done since I was a little kid. I don't even know that I did it on purpose. I do know that to the extent that I use pressure with my pinky, sometimes I'm pushing harder than others. You probably can't see it with my pinky, but you might be able to see it on here if I push more. That's me just using different pressure with my pinky. Sometimes I use a little more pressure, sometimes I don't quite use as much pressure, but it's just comfort for me. And this ball smells pretty good too. I haven't even taken a chance to look at the box to see what it smells like.
Buy a candle.
Now, my thumb just got a little warmer by being in the ball. I feel like the feel's a little bit better. I don't know what pitches these are drilled at. I think they're all probably drilled just at 0-0. So, all right. 17-17, see if I can get this online, and then we'll look at the shape relative to the Pro Motion. That one got just a little bit more to the right than I would have liked. Certainly that ball went into a roll. I would therefore say it's a little higher friction than the ProMotion. You know, the one thing about solid balls, and I don't mean solid as far as the cover stock, I mean solid as far as the color. You got the ProMotion is completely solid blue, no type of markings in it, but then you get these other balls that are not one color all the way. It's a little bit easier to see the precession on these balls than it is the solid balls. What would another ball be in the Storm line that's more of a solid? You know,
Well, the Rotogrip Idol.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like on an Idol, what'd you say? Yeah, High Road X.
Especially
So-
that one being black.
Right. It's a little bit more difficult to see the precession on those solid color balls as it is the balls that have the swirls in them. What we're looking for is we're looking for the rotation, the axis rotation, and the migration of that rotation. That's precession. Okay? I saw the precession of this happen just a little bit easier than the ProMotion. See if I can get one a little bit more online without having to get all the way to the right, and hopefully I can hold on to it and not miss well. Still 17, looking 17 though.
Could be a cheater like Justin Schwab. He plugged his weight holes white so you could see it going down.
Okay, that was actually a pretty decent shot. That was more online. If anything, I think that one got a little bit slow. That's why it hooked a little bit more. But at the same time, still confirmed to me that ball's is just a little bit stronger in its friction component. Since I'm on a league shot, if you don't want to use your plastic spare ball, I usually use the old General 369 spare shooting method because the 4-pin is 2 zones to the left of the head pin. That's where I move 2 zones to the right, 6 boards. If there's a lot of oil in the middle of the lane where you bowl, which most places there are, instead of 369, just go ahead and make it 4812. And the best way to determine what's going to be best for you is to get your butt in there and do some practicing on some of the spares, okay? So I'm moving 6 left. So I was on 17, minus 6 is 11. And throw it over my same strike target. I don't have to do anything different. And there you make the spare. So that's 369 method. I still use that at times during league. I certainly use that method for the middle 6 pins, the 1, 2, 3, and the 5, 8, 9. I still use a version of the 369, like for the 2 pin. I might only move 2 to the right. Depending on if there's an out of bounds on some of the tour patterns that I compete on, I may not move at all. The more difficult the scoring environment, the more apt I am to use my plastic ball as my choice to make the spares. There's a lot of times that when I leave a 2-pin, if I'm not yet lined up to the pocket, then I certainly use my spare ball and just go knock it over. But if I'm lined up to the pocket and I have control of the pocket for those middle 6 pins, I just move my 2 or 3 right and or 2 or 3 left, depending on which direction I gotta go, okay? All right, let me throw a couple good shots here. See if I can get 2 or 3 good shots here. I'm already seeing that this is a little stronger than the ProMotion, but I want to get a couple good ones online. That was pretty good. Don't be confused by the 9-pin that I just left. Even though that hit at a more extreme angle, that was certainly the friction component of that ball, not as much as it was the response time of that ball. And I'm not going to mess with the spare. I'm pretty good at making 9 pins. Okay, same shot, just a little more speed, okay? I'm not moving my feet or my eyes, making sure I'm giving it a little bit more speed. Hopefully you'll be able to see the difference in speed. And that was pretty good as far as ball motion is concerned. As far as the precession that we're looking for, that rotational axis migrated all the way and got to the side. The deflection through the pins was very, very good. So I think I can repeat that. Now when we're repeating shots, it's more than just where you're standing and then hitting your target. It's also repeating the initial axis rotation, the launch angles, the speed that you're using, the rev rate you're using to be able to get control of that the pocket. Okay? So there's a lot of times when I used to practice a really lot, once I got lined up, like that was, I would say, perfect. Not only do I try to repeat the actual shot, but I try to repeat the sound that the pins create as they fall. So try to repeat that sound, okay? Try to repeat that same type of strike. See if I can do that. So same speed, same rev rate, same launch angle, same everything, and the same sound at the pin. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. So pretty happy with that. Okay, I'll throw one more shot with that, trying to repeat that, and then I'll move a little bit lateral, left or right. So again, trying to repeat that, same pin collision, same everything. Again, pretty decent as far as the pin collision. That was online. I think all three of those were pretty good shots. Yes, Josh?
So Larry, I'm 55 years old. How do I get more ball speed?
Just go faster. Maybe we want to build a ramp for you and you can get running downhill to get you a little more ball speed. Obviously, I'm joking, Larry. The suggestion is there's a lot of people that think that ball speed, increasing your ball speed, is really only trying to increase the amount of swing that you use with your arm. And I caution every one of you by just changing one thing to create more ball speed, because that ends up altering your timing somewhat. So I like to try to use as an example, however you start when you're throwing your normal shots. Me, if you notice, I'm right in through here. You want to try to picture that you're inside, visually inside your creative mind, that you're inside of a bubble. And everything you do stays with inside that bubble. In order to increase your ball speed, I like to try to increase the size of my bubble, raise the ball up just a little bit, move back on the approach just a little bit, so that I can make everything that I do just a little bit bigger, so that it ends up the same at the foul line as a relation with everything else, okay? Another trick that I learned from Rick Benoit is the whole idea of generating anything on the approach is so we have enough momentum getting to the foul line. So if you're trying to increase your speed, you want to try to implement a little bit more of a lean before you go, and then that will help you create a little bit more speed as you get to the foul line, okay? Now, we're not looking for exponential amounts of speed, but little subtle differences. Whatever your speed is, Larry, you want to make sure you can repeat that really well, and then just try to increase it a little bit more and get good at that. Then increase it a little bit more and get good at that. Then go back to what you do well. And then work on that outside range. Now just create a little bit more. And little by little, over those weeks of practice, before you know it, you start creating a little range of repeatability of what you can accomplish with your speed. We also try to do that with our rev rate, with our axis rotation, with our launch angles, all kinds of stuff, okay? So hopefully that helps. If it did help, or if you understand what I'm saying, shoot it in the comments, yes, thank you, or that you need more clarification, let me know. So I'll show you what that looks like. So let's say that I'm going to move, say I'm going to move 5 and 3 lateral to the right. Obviously on this house shot, I'm moving into more friction. If I'm moving into more friction, but I want to create the same deflection and the same ball motion, I'm going to need to increase my speed and or lower my rev rate a little bit. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, I was standing 17, looking at 17. I'm going to move 5 right, so now I'm at 12. And instead of looking at 17, now I'm looking at 14. I'm going to move back on the approach a little bit, in this case about 6 or 7 inches, because in my creative mind, that's about how much more speed I'm going to need, because I'm already aware of my ranges. You all need to take time to develop yours. So I move back. Now my launch angle is going to be a little bit more closed, so I realign to my target line. I raise the ball up. I lean a little bit more, and I do everything that I just did in the same relation, just making it a little bit bigger, but still stay inside the bubble. Okay, you ready? 12 looking 14, a little bit more speed. Okay, now what did I see? Actually, that was a pretty well executed shot. So for my next shot, what I saw on that shot was I saw the ball read a little bit too much friction, a little too soon, and that just caused it to make its little bit lateral movement a little bit too much to leave the 4-pin. Realizing that the 4-pin, if we're talking about the 1.5 inches that you have at the pocket, leaving a 4-pin, I only missed by about a 1/2 inch. That's it. So how am I going to limit that lateral movement? I have a number of choices. I can increase my speed even more. I can lower my rev rate even more. I can start the axis rotation off my hand, move that a little bit more so it's more stable. So when the ball sees friction, it can't make as much of a lateral move. I can do all of those things, okay? In this case, I'm just gonna throw it faster. So I'm gonna do everything the same. I'm gonna back up on the approach just a little bit more, a couple more inches, and go a little bit faster, lean a little bit more, still staying on balance, and try to make sure that I have that good pin collision that I had in the previous 3 shots, okay? So still standing on 12. I back up a little bit more. Everything's going to be the same. Rev rate's the same, just a little bit faster. And there was the good pin collision again. Okay? You don't need to be hooking the ball lateral a whole lot left to right, but you certainly can understand the front to back motion that has to happen as it relates to precession, and then learning how to see that precession. I know Bo Gergen and a couple of other people had mentioned about, hey, what are some of the tools that we can use to be able to learn to see precession? That's the Bowl U ball motion triangle. That's understanding the Bowl U ladder drill. Understanding which angle you're choosing and why you're choosing that angle, and then matching your physical choices to the strategy that you chose before you even stepped on the approach. So those can be things that we discuss at a Bowl U workshop. I strongly recommend that you attend one of those, strongly. I'm working with a little, not little, but I'm working with a 12-year-old now. You should have seen him throwing the ball yesterday. Josh was watching him. He's made huge improvements, but his scores haven't yet improved. But he's starting to get leverage. He's starting to raise his rev rate. The ball's rolling down his hand. He's doing some amazing things. but he's getting a little tripped up in his head because the scores aren't going up as fast as he wants them to go up. Ryan Schaefer, if you end up seeing this, Ryan, you do a great job down there in the Elmira Horseheads area. Ryan Schaefer just put a post up yesterday about what he saw at one of the high school practices or matches or something. And it was 100% spot on as to what he saw. So if you haven't seen that post, go seek it out and read it. It's about his experience and what he sees when he's watching the high schoolers down there in his area. So it was a great post. So thank you, Ryan, for that. Yes?
Austin, sometimes when I decrease my speed, I have a tendency to slowing down my speed at the bottom of the swing. What's a good tip or drill to stop that?
Okay, so when we're trying to slow down, yes, your swing should be slower, but everything should be slower. So as your swing relates to the rest of everything, it should look the same. Now, what do I mean by that? At the bottom of your swing, you're at the top of your swing. At the bottom of your swing, there must be acceleration. You have to achieve acceleration. Rick Benoit with Bowl U teaches that the definition of a good release is just this: coordinating the exit of your thumb with the acceleration of your arm swing. If you accelerate too soon and your thumb doesn't get out of the ball, that's where the ball shoots down the lane and you don't get any rev rate at all. If you can't get out of your thumb, then your thumb hole needs to be bigger. Wow, my gosh, yeah, my thumb, it shrinks as I bowl during the league. That's because your thumb hole's too small, and the more that you jam your thumb into the bowling ball, the more the blood is pushed out of your thumb and your thumb shrinks. Use tape. Use tape to size the inside of the thumb hole. Well, I use that protective tape over my thumb. That's what I use for my sizing. That stuff's 3 times as expensive. That stuff that you put on your thumb, that's to protect your thumb. That's not for sizing purposes inside the thumb. 2 different tools for 2 different, completely different things. You guys heard me joke in one of the other videos. Oh yeah, it's pouring rain outside. Well, I'm gonna go get my crescent wrench and be able to go outside so I don't get wet. That's a different tool that's usable, but it's got to be used properly. I need the umbrella as a tool if I don't want to get wet. So let's use thumb tape for its purpose and protective tape for its purpose, not using one for the other. Okay? As you get slower, I'll show you slower. What was his name? Austin. So when I move to the left, I'll talk more about how I get slower, okay? But I want you to know that you still need to accelerate at the bottom of your swing. There always has to be acceleration. For a proper release, you always have to accelerate. But I'm going to repeat that last shot 2 more times so I can make sure that I really am aware of what I'm feeling and what I'm getting to the foul line, okay? So now I got to reset my brain, dial back in all the little notches, because that last shot was pretty good. Standing on 12, got to remember where I was standing. Get my launch angle set. Get my thumb to feel warm again. Okay, I should be good. All right, now I got to dial in the speed and try to create the same deflection. Okay, again, pretty good shot. So those first handful of shots, they were pretty shaky. That's just because I wasn't loose. I wasn't sure I was going to really throw that shot as well because I was just talking for so long, but that ended up being a pretty good shot as well. Josh mentioned something to me the other day. I've been having some difficulty with my heel of my left foot. I think it's plantar fasciitis or a sprained tendon or ligament or something down there. So I have a lot of pain in my heel. And because I happen to go into the foul line with my heel first and then just roll onto my toes, I create a lot of pressure on my heel. And I've been dealing with this now since probably early mid-August. So it's coming up on almost 5 months that I've been dealing with this pain. Get up in the morning, really, literally, can barely even step out of bed in the morning because I just have so much pain. So I keep getting it worked on. I'm rolling my foot around on golf balls and softballs before I go to bed. When I get up in the morning, every time I can think about it, just trying to keep that blood flow getting into that tissue. The reason I mention that is Josh mentioned something to me the other day. You know what, Brad? I've noticed that you've been falling off balance a whole lot more than I ever seen you. And I've been thinking about that about the last day and a half since he mentioned that, and he's right. I haven't been paying attention. I've been doing these videos with all of you. I just throw the ball down the lane, and so I think my physical game, because I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next, that suffered, but also the issues with my heel isn't making me demand for myself to stay on balance. Well, I'm doing that today, and you see, I'm just thinking about it. And I haven't fallen off balance. Why? Because I'm making sure on purpose I'm staying on balance. Whoop! My repeatability just went up a couple notches. Just on that one little thing that a good friend of mine noticed. Okay, so now for the third shot, I got to repeat that same thing. I want the same pin collision. If I go a little half pocket and I get a strike, I'll accept it, but I'm still in my brain thinking, okay, I didn't quite repeat that shot. All right, 12, still the same distance back of where I was, so I can increase my speed, getting my thumb to fit, got my launch angles all set. All right, same speed, same everything. Okay, that one.
PBA 50 Tour, he's locked in.
Well, that one, I noticed that 6 pin went up against the wall and chopped the 10. So that deflection was a little bit different. Was it enough different for me to move? No, but I'm aware of it. Now, Austin, I'm going to move back to where I was, and hopefully you can see the difference in the height of my swing. And you know what? You might not even be able to see it with the naked eye.
Time out. These guys are recommending you get Brooks tennis shoes. Like 5 guys who said you got to get Brooks tennis shoes.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I went and I actually had a insoles molded right to my foot. Get a shot of this. It's molded right to my foot. So this has helped dramatically. But the issue that I'm having is right in here. And I think it just continues to get irritated. And I can't afford to take enough time off to be able to just allow it to heal.
You can smell that through the camera.
I had a doctor, a friend of mine, that I asked about this heel issue. And he used this analogy. He said, Brad, have you ever had really chapped lips? And so, you know, you put the chapstick on your lips, and later that evening, yeah, things feel pretty good, but then somebody makes you laugh, and before you know it, you stretch that out and you feel whatever was healing, it just cracked again. So then you go the next day or two and you still keep that on your lips. It just takes a while for you to rest that tissue so that it can mend itself. Because as soon as you start going full bore on that tissue again, like I am when I'm bowling, it just tears away whatever those fibers are starting to create and really heal. I haven't been able to take enough time off to be able to heal it. And to be honest with you, once I get going, it actually loosens up and then the pain goes away. It's just that I end up suffering for it the next day, the next morning. All right, so Austin. But thank you, those of you that recommended that. Thank you. All right, now I'm going to go back to where I started, 17, looking 17, and I got to redial my switches back in to where I lower the ball speed a little. And that was really about all I did. I ended up moving back onto the approach, so I got to move back to where I was to dial that in, okay? See if I can do it all just in one shot and create that same pin collision. So no chop in the 10. Try to get it up in there and have the 3 go into the 6, right into the 10. See if I can dial it in on one shot. Now, I'll take it, but that was still a little bit too fast. So I got to dial that in a little bit more and turn that notch down a little bit more, okay? Of course I'll take that shot.
Especially against Josh.
I hope I get that hit.
Should be able to get that in. That's my hit.
Maybe that would be a good hit for me. I won't give it back if I get that hit to win a senior title when I go out on the senior tour. I'll gladly accept it, bring the check right home, give it all to Michelle, and then go to Starbucks. Okay, we got to dial that back in to get that ball back up in there. That's a little better. And that was just a little bit more the other side of the deflection. So between those two shots is where I want to live. That was just a little bit too slow. So if we're talking about the 1.5 inches, the first shot was a little bit over on this edge of the 1.5 inches. That shot was a little bit over on this side, and I want to live right in the middle here so I have lateral miss room at the pocket. We can achieve lateral miss room at the pocket by having a better understanding and having control over the 60 feet this way, not lateral room this way on the lane. Of course, we all want some of that, but having a good understanding of what precession is what gives us miss room front to back. All right, I got to dial this in. So in between those two shots is what I want. Still 17, looking 17. Oh, that's pretty good. And there was that good strike again. Huh? Yeah, it wasn't quite a chop as much as the other one, though. It was. I saw the 6-pin go this way and then kind of tackle the 10, more than 6-pin going directly into the 10. So Josh is right, but that certainly was in between those two shots. Wouldn't you agree, you guys? I'm very fortunate to the few hundred people that joined us today. Josh, Tim, why don't you get a shot of everybody that came into the lanes? Thank you, all of you, for showing up, for watching.
Yeah, big crowd, big crowd.
It's growing by the week.
It is. This is probably the biggest crowd I think we've
We
had.
have a 300% increase in spectators this week, so thank you for all of your support, everybody that's here. All right, Austin, I hope you're still watching. Now I'm going to move 5 and 3 left. In order to do that, I know that I'm moving into a little bit more oil. Because I'm moving into a little bit more oil, what do I need to do? Dial down my speed and or increase my rev rate, maybe subtly change my axis rotation. But what I need to do physically to do all of that is I need to move closer to the foul line, take my bubble, shrink my bubble, and then stay inside that bubble. I won't be taking my backswing as high, therefore I won't be able to create as much speed. But when I get to the bottom, I still need to show acceleration so I can satisfy that component of a proper release. Proper release must be thumb exit when you accelerate. You have to accelerate, okay? So, 5 and 3 left. 22, looking 20. I'm moving closer to the foul line. Tim, this is where I was when I was just throwing the shots relative to the dots. When I moved 5 and 3 right, I was here. This is about where I was normal. Now I'm moving 5 and 3 left. 22, I'm gonna move closer and now get a shot of me. This is where I am normally, but now I'm going to shrink the bubble and stay within that bubble. And that was a pretty good first shot, proper pin collision. Everything was the same when I got to the pins. I still used the same part of the 1.5 inches. Everything looked good. So that just took me one shot.
Dave Day wants you to throw a ball like Dave Day.
Dave Day wants me to throw a ball like Dave Day. Okay, I'll try it. In a few minutes. So 22, looking 22, because I'm doing a drill right now that I think all of you should learn to do. 3 different locations, dialing in your speed, rev rate. I shrunk the bubble the same, getting slower, and still accelerating. Everything looks good there again. Sorry, did I get in front of it?
Right in the break point.
Sorry, I went in front of it.
You haven't missed in like 16 shots. You do realize that, right?
No, I don't know. Not even paying attention,
It's
honestly.
like number 16 in a row.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there have been a decent amount.
I don't
Okay.
think you've missed it. She went through the nose and struck.
He had that one 9-pin in
I
there,
left
didn't
the
he?
9-pin was the last one, and I re-racked it.
But other than that,
So sorry about that, us pros. Sometimes we don't shoot all our spares. Dave Day. All right, Dave Day. I got to think now. Dave Day. He has a lower rev rate, much higher speed. He went to 15 pounds from 16 so that he could get just a little bit more on the ball. He's been doing a great job of letting the ball roll down his hand. Let it unravel off his hand versus lifting. Okay, let the ball roll off, extend. So I got to get over here even more, lower my rev rate even more. I don't know that I can throw it or look physically like Dave, but I think I can get my rev rate low enough to make it look similar. So here we go. I'm moving out, I'm standing on 10, and I'm looking at 12. I'm going to get my rev rate really low and go from here. Okay, so launch angle wise, that was a little too open. See if I can dial that in. Those of you that know Dave Day, did that look similar to what he does? Yes? Okay. Now, how am I going to shoot this spare? Well, I'm going to move 3 and 0 to the left. Excuse me. 3 and 0 to the right. I'm factoring in 1 board for my next move, and then 2 boards to the right for the spare. And I'm still looking at, 11, and I'm going to still keep that lower rev rate, Dave. And that was pretty good for the spare shot. That might have been just a little higher rev rate than Dave usually has.
some people have Throwbot. We have Bradbot.
Brobot.
Any bowler
This
in
is
the world,
Brobot.
baby.
I'm the B robot.
I like Bradbot.
Bradbot, you like Bradbot? All right, Dave, I'll try it again for you, okay?
Is that like a Brad bod? A dad bod?
Bradbot. So I'm standing on 9, looking 11. Lower rev rate. So that was pretty strong. I think obviously I got to get my speed up to be able to use that. So Austin, I want you to watch this shot as well. I'm going to move back onto the approach, increase the bubble even more. Not going to shoot the spare because I want to show you the difference in one shot to the next. Actually, now that I think of it, that last shot, I think I might have decelerated a little bit, which causes the ball typically to go a little bit left. I didn't accelerate through the shot, I decelerated through the shot, and that just caused it to read early, and that's no good. We don't ever want that. Okay? Same. 9. I'm moving back on the approach. I'm going to really get moving on this shot and get that low rev rate. See if I can get it into that pocket with the same collision.
That one up there, Hawk.
Yeah, that was a little bit better. So that was the other extreme of speed. Obviously, I would want to do everything the same, but just dial that speed notch down a little bit because that precession didn't quite finish and get where it had to get.
That looked like a Dave Day shot, though.
Yeah, that was close to a Dave Day week 10 shot.
Damn near right on.
All right. That same shot, just with a little less speed. Should get through the pins a lot better. Dave Day, here you go. And that was...
Rick's on.
Uh-oh, Rick's here. Rick, we've been talking about you. We got to give Rick a little love, gang, Pit Nation.
There's no Bull U on that shirt again.
That's all right. Over there.
Yeah. The Bull U over there.
Okay, without a lot of comments or suggestions for Rick. My friend Rick Benoit. For the last 15 years has done as much as anybody that I know for bowling, for this sport that we all love. And many of you that are familiar with Bowl U, you know that he has online videos, he has online training, he has coaching tips, he has all kinds of stuff that he has released to the public. But behind that is an even larger room worth of his thoughts and his knowledge, things that he has built that he hasn't even released. About a month ago or so, the place where Rick had all that information stored, they updated their server and he lost everything. And they can't get it back. And so Rick has really been trying to do a lot of soul searching to try to decide whether or not he wants to rebuild everything. Is there enough people out there that want it, truly want it? And I really feel for my friend. I can't imagine as to what he must be going through. Yeah, he still has all the information up here, but imagine writing a research paper or preparing a document for your work or even doing an invoice for somebody that owes you money or something like that, or you're doing your yearly taxes and you got all of that stuff and you get right down toward the finish and whoop, it's gone. How frustrated are we? And we're talking a decade and a half worth of hours and hours and hundreds of hours worth of material. So I want to ask Pit Nation, as well as everybody that sees this video, if you are with us long enough to get to this part, please reach out to Rick through 10 in the Pit, through this video, or if you happen to have his personal Facebook access, reach out to him and let him know what Bowl U has meant to you and whether or not you feel that Bowl U is worthy enough for him to press on. I had a long talk with my friend, and he might be frustrated with me for even bringing this out. He's not really a on-the-stage type of guy. But I'm asking you, every one of you, if you've been influenced by Bowl U, please reach out and let him know. More than just a like. Let him know your stories, because he's pretty down, and I don't blame him. So if you can, please do that. Do that for Rick. Do that for our sport, and let him know. Okay? All right. So that's my spiel there. Rick, I'm glad you joined us. I love you, man, and I hope they have figured out a way to be able to get it all back. But I don't know if that's possible. All right. Let's see. So we want to throw. Do you want me to throw the phase 2 or not? I mean, we can be done. We're almost at an hour. Phase 3. That's what I meant. I would actually say that this Gravity Evolve is kind of similar to a Sure-Lock. Something like that is what it reminds me of. Asymmetric, solid. Here, look at this drilling.
Same drilling.
Yeah, but it's not quite the same drilling. This is probably about 4.5 inches for me. It's a little stronger drilling than I usually put in my stuff. This one's more above the ring finger. Yeah, but that's okay. But I want to say, because of how this ball looks right now, I'm actually going to drill some balls with a little stronger drilling. Because at a lot of these tournaments that I bowl at, it feels like the volume, the volumes are continuing to go up with the amount of oil that's on the lane, the types of oils that are being used. Josh just has to get my thumb grip, or my thumb sleeve, it rolled out. The types of oil that are being used are so much thicker, and once the oils get down lane, I just feel like everywhere I go, my ball hydroplanes down lane. And I've had a long discussion with Rick last week when he told me what was going on with him, and we talked about, maybe stronger layouts. Yeah, but really we're talking about the speed that I need at the pins to be able to continue to compete at the highest level. But I really like how this ball's going down the lane and where it's reading, and I feel like I still have these little subtle little feel tricks to be able to get the ball through the pins. So I think I might try drilling a couple balls or two, huh?
I noticed that a lot at Mike Rose's tournament. Started the song and then it just waited.
Okay, so if you can't hear, Josh was referring to a tournament that we all bowled on New Year's Day. Many of you probably bowled it. Mike Rose runs a great tournament on New Year's Day. He had, 240 entries or something like that. Him and his wife, Ruth, do a great job. So thank you, Mike and Ruth. But as the day went on, it just felt like there was so much oil getting down lane. And more, it's like so many places are starting out with patterns that are 42, 44, 45 feet, 43 feet, 47 feet, all these longer patterns with thicker oils and higher volumes and rev rates that are through the roof. What do people do? Well, they get out their Abralon pad, and if their ball's not hooking enough, they lean on it a little bit harder, and that looks okay, but that's limited until the fronts blow up. And then once the fronts blow up, now you can't get the ball around the corner because precession already had. There's a lot of things that fall victim to using more surface. Using more surface, and I fall into that trap too, just because I don't have a high enough rev rate. And then I look at the rev rate guys, and it doesn't look like they're having any problem at all. And it has to do with what Rick calls rotation without distance versus distance without rotation. And I fall more into my balls covering too much distance without enough rotation. And the rev rate guys, they achieve a lot of rotation without much distance. And so their ball doesn't really ever see down lane because their ball is already read and already motioning towards the pocket. Therefore, they can throw it faster. Therefore, they have better pin collision. Pins dancing around. The head pin shoots off the side wall and either hits the 2-pin or the 10-pin or both. And that's just not been a hit that I've been able to rely on because I don't throw it fast enough, because I don't have a high enough rev rate and there's not enough friction on the lane for me to do it. So I think I might start drilling a couple balls with a little stronger layout just to have a little bit of help. And then if that doesn't help me be able to get the ball through the pins a little bit more easier, then I will I'll just call it a day on my career, I guess. But it's been frustrating. And we'll just get ready for April, get in shape, hopefully get my foot healed, and try to take it to them out on the senior tour. All right, phase 3. I'm going to throw the phase 3 from the same start location. I'm sure you're going to be able to see the quicker motion. We already know that this ball is more of a medium quick response time ball, probably closer to medium quick. I don't think I would call it really quick. I have dusted the cover of this with a very light 2000 pad, and what you see on it now is whatever shine is just lane shine. It's not polish per se, it's just shine from the lanes. Okay? So I'm going to stand 17, look 17. Same location on the approach. Try to get dialed back in. That was a little quicker motion, as you saw. Got up the lane. I really feel like it kind of reached to get a little longer because it's a little lower friction. Hopefully you guys that are here, you can see that. Just because of the lower friction. Now, if I moved more to the right with this ball, you would really see the response time characteristic take over more than the friction characteristic. Because if I move to the right, I'm moving into more on-lane friction, surface friction, then the response time is going to take it. Well, let me do that. I'll move 5 and 3 to the right. I'll try to throw it a little faster.
Throw it like Dave did.
Okay, 5 and 3. You should see this check a little easier. Definitely. I mean, I saw that just when you want to make that lateral move pretty quick. Okay. Josh, can you check on and see if that's somebody that needed anything? I didn't recognize who just walked in. Oh no, I think it's the electrician. Sorry about that. So I wouldn't use this quick of response time ball in this much early friction unless I'm going to get my rev rate lower and my speed higher. Let's see what that would look like. Rev rate lower, speed higher. So Dave Day, this is for you. And that's still really checked. So I'm going to get that speed up even more. See if I can get that more up the lane. Actually got a little bit to the side of that one too. I don't know how well you can see it today. We don't have the luxury of the overhead camera today. Hopefully we'll have that again for next week.
Hockey puck.
Huh?
Hockey puck.
Okay. So more speed. But there's quite a bit of friction where I'm trying to throw this. And even that one's still really checked through that middle part of the lane. But that looked okay. And that actually looked similar to Dave Day. Okay? All right, I'm pooped. Any other questions, comments? Please let us know if and what time you want to come to the matchmaker. You want to get another shot of that? This coming Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, actually starting next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. Here's the times. You want to be testing your own equipment. If you're from out of town and you have the chance to be able to throw any of these newer balls, test them up against balls that you already know. I think that's very important, and that's pretty much what I do every time I'm testing a ball here. I get out a ball that's in my arsenal, get out a ball that I'm trying to test. If you're coming to the matchmaker, bring a couple of your favorite balls that you use every week when you go bowl week, and then you'll be able to get an assessment as to these newer balls and how they relate to it, at least initially, keeping in mind that they've never been compromised with oil. So you got to get oil in the balls, after you drill them, probably 20 or 30 games before you really give them a good liking or disliking. But most of these matchmaker balls, these have been thrown down the lane and they already have oil in them, so it should be giving you a good assessment as to what your ball could look like. These matchmaker balls, they go around. We just got them in the shop here the other day, and then they'll go on to another shop, and then they'll go on to another shop. They've already been at other shops for the previous month or two. So they already have ample oil in them to take the time to do that. And then please do us a favor, call and or text so we can start making a list as to the times that we got and how many people we got coming in. Here's the number. And then don't forget to send a little love to our friend Rick. Again, Rick, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.